I'm gonna do a video about one of the topics that I've been the most frequently asked, and I am always asked about that, and people are always like, oh, so surprised. It is about my language skills and how I think of languages and what languages I speak and all that good stuff. I am 21, soon to be 22. Yeah, and I speak 4 languages. I have never lived abroad, and none of my family is something else than French. So I've never been, I've never been in an environment where several languages were spoken. Je suis française, donc je parle français. Voilà, pour tous ceux qui aiment bien entendre parler français. Je peux pas trop en parler en tant que langue que j'ai apprise, évidemment, vu que c'est ma langue maternelle. Ça doit être, je sais que c'est une langue relativement difficile à apprendre, mais c'est pas la langue la plus difficile qui soit. Donc si vous avez envie d'apprendre le français, lancez-vous. C'est pas si compliqué que ça. Le français est juste une langue très précise qui permet une grande exactitude, une grande précision, une grande minutie et qui permet pas vraiment d'approximation de... comment dire, comme l'anglais qui est assez vague dans un sens, comme langue qui permet une grande interprétation, une grande liberté. En français, les mots, vraiment, il faut bien les choisir. Et je pense que cette précision se retrouve aussi dans la grammaire et c'est ce qui fait peur aux apprenants. Mais il faut pas avoir peur, il faut se lancer. Donc voilà pour le français. So obviously then I speak English, and that's why people, and I think it's the language people are the most curious about because my level in English is pretty good. I am nowhere near to be perfect. I know my accent is still very obvious, and I know I like vocabulary, and I know I make little mistakes sometimes, obviously, and sometimes really big ones too. I've been fluent for I think 4 years, not 5, I would say 4 years, but my English is always improving. I can hear it, I can see the difference when I look at videos that were like 6 months old. I can see it perfectly. It's also interesting to see that because it's not my native language, well, obviously in French too, but depending on my level of tiredness, or depending on how I feel, my English is gonna be better or worse. And it's kind of the same in French. Sometimes I cannot even formulate things. But yeah, it's more obvious in English because it's not my mother tongue. So what could I say about English? I studied it for 7 years at school, and it was really beneficial to me. I think learning languages in school is pretty good because it gives you this kind of pressure and discipline that I cannot really be that strict if I don't have someone to tell me to be like that. So that's why I think schools are really cool, and because also you get to practice with other students and stuff. So I did a lot of work on English by myself to get to that level, and I think that is what was the most I would say efficient. I translated every freaking song I loved. I listened to, they were at that time, I don't know if they're still available, but there were books that came with a CD. Like I remember having a few of those, and I remember the first one I read was Elijah by Edgar Allan Poe, and I remember I would pause after every sentence of the CD and repeat it perfectly, like it had to sound exactly like the CD. I wrote and spoke a lot I talked a lot with foreigners, not necessarily native English speakers, but people from all over the world at the time of MySpace, and that was pretty cool. And I met my first love on MySpace. That was, oh yeah, that was great. I do dream in English very often. I think in English most of the time. I love to write. I write all the time. Obviously, I cannot write in English like I write in French because I cannot play with words the way I play with them in French because I'm not that comfortable with the language yet. I hope one day I will. But I do write in English now, and very, very often when I want to write about something, it's gonna come in English first, which is really weird. It's really bizarre because I don't know. Yeah, and sometimes I feel like my French sounds a bit weird because I think in English and I speak in French, obviously, because I live in France with French people. So sometimes I'm gonna say things that sound a bit odd because it's more like English than French, if that makes any sense at all. I'm not forgetting French, but I cannot deny the fact that me speaking different languages has an impact on my French. そして日本語もできます。2年前に大学で日本語の勉強を始めましたけど、今は大学で文学を勉強しています。そして今は大学で日本語を勉強してないです。はい、日本語は とっても難しいね。本当に面白いけど、まあ、ドイツ語、英語とフランス語ととっても違いますから、本当に面白いですけど、本当に難しいね。例えば漢字は一番難しいことと思います。えーっと、まあ、日本語でペラペラじゃないけど、本当にペラペラになりたい。はい。そのために本当に頑張ります。ペラペラになりたいのためにいろいろなことをしています。例えば、まあ、日本語の本を読んだり、ブログを読んだり、インターネットで、ウェブサイトでなんかロングエイトとかインターパルとか日本語で書きたり、日本のドラマを見たり、日本の音楽を聴いたり、まあ、日本人と、日本語で話したり、はい、そのことをしています。And then German. So, okay, German is something very frustrating for me because I love German and I studied German when I was, well, I guess I can say that in German. Okay. Ich liebe Deutsch, aber mein Deutsch ist nicht sehr gut. Ich habe es für 4 Jahren studieren, aber es war im Gymnasium. Ich habe alles vergessen. Ähm, und, äh, und es ist a shame. I don't know how you say that. Trauer. Ist Trauer sad, I guess. Ich glaube, dass Deutsch die schwierigste Sprache ist für mich. Und, und ich habe es für 5 Jahre nicht gesprochen. So that's why I'm so bad. I've lost probably 90% of my German and it sucks because I love German. But German is a bit difficult. I think for me it's actually the most difficult language. Because it looks like Latin and I don't know why Latin was also very hard for me because I studied Latin for 5 years, so I know Latin as well. But those two languages are very hard because they're very structured and they're very logical and they have lots of different forms and declinations and stuff. I can understand it pretty well. Ich verstehe Deutsch sehr gut. Like for example, when we were in Ukraine this summer with friends of mine, we were lost in the middle of nowhere at night in a train station and we didn't know what to do and obviously we didn't speak Russian. So there was this guy who spoke German and he told me because I was the only one speaking German, but he told me everything we had to do and I couldn't understand everything he was saying, but I couldn't reply to him. That was so frustrating, so I really need to pick up my German because I love German. So that's for the four languages I can really understand and speak. Then I also know some Korean, so I can read Korean, I know vocabulary, and I am familiar with the grammar, but it is, it's kind of like I'm very, very, very beginner level, but I can read it and I can understand a few things and I know a few of the vocab. Like I can say very, very simple things, like I don't know, 안녕하세요, 이미입니다. 프랑스 사람입니다. 한국 대박! And 한국어는 재미있어요. 또 어려워요. How to say picture and chair and to eat and to buy and an apple and I love you and I'm waiting to start learning Korean again because I want my Japanese to be at my level of English and then I want my Korean to be at my level of Japanese and then I want to study Russian because I love Russian. I can read Russian but I don't understand what I'm reading. So I don't know Russian. I just know like Здравствуйте or Привет or Spasiba, da, blah blah blah, and where is blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And I love Russian. I think it's amazing. It sounds so beautiful to my ears. It's just beautiful, but it's very hard. So I know how to read it, and I'm very very eager to learn it. But I have to improve a lot on my Japanese and Korean first. Then I know a few things in Chinese, but my accent in Chinese is so bad. So if there's any Chinese person watching this video, they're gonna laugh at me. 你好，我叫 Amy。谢谢。对不起。 Tuebuchi. I never know. I think Chinese sounds actually pretty cool. I think Taiwanese also sounds cool, but I don't know anything in Taiwanese really. So yeah, that's about it for my language video. If you have any questions or more specific questions, feel free to ask me. I would really reply to anything. And if you have any requests for any video in the future that I could do, please let me know. So thank you for watching, guys, and bye!